you're a parent and your child is refusing to go to school, or you're a parent who wants your child to have access to a great education, our job is to give them the grace by acknowledging that this behavior is actually an indicator for us, supporting parents whose child refuses to go to school. So Sarah-Lynn, you have so much on the go. You tutor, you coach, you work with parents. Why a podcast? Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Sarah-Lynn Hodder and today I'm very excited to be launching something that has been on my heart and on my mind for a very, very long time, and that is the Mindful Toolbox Podcast. If you've been around for a while, you may have seen the Mindful Toolbox Podcast already pop up on your Spotify. And make no mistake, it's still me providing information that supports parents at the intersection of student well-being and academic success. However, the last time we launched, well, that was actually a little bit of an accident. See, in 2021, when we were in the midst of the pandemic, I noticed that many of our parents required additional support, additional resources, and a space to feel seen and heard. So I created monthly workshops and then turn them into blogs. But what I realized was not all parents have the time to sit and watch a video or read through a blog. And so many of them were asking for an audio version of those resources. And a couple of clicks later, we were on Spotify. But have no fear, this time there are no slideshows attached to it. There is video if you want to come see me, but it really is a very intentional space that is going to empower you to take action within the 30 to 40 minutes that we spend time together. So whether you're a parent who feels absolutely overwhelmed and overrun because your child desperately needs support and access to additional resources and additional funding and a different kind of educational setting and you have no idea where to turn, or you're a parent and your child is refusing to go to school and you are witnessing their light dim every single day, that they don't get access to emotional well-being support and an academic environment that helps them to feel safe and seen. And ultimately, you are seeing the darkness overwhelm them and as a result, your family, and you have no idea how much more time you have. Or you're a parent who wants your child to have access to a great education, but you're very well aware that overemphasizing exam and academic success could lead to some really big emotional trauma wounds for your child in the future. And so you're looking for ways that we can balance that focus on academics and the well-being. Hello and welcome. Over the last 9 years, I've worked with families who have walked the same path as you. You are not alone, and this uphill battle is not going to defeat you. How do I know this? I don't even know you. I know this because I've seen it time and time again, that this battle, I've seen families gain the support, find their groove, and more importantly, reconnect with their child. And I know the same is possible for you. My goal here is to act as a conduit of information, passing down the little nuggets of wisdom that these families have acquired over their journeys and shared with me as they navigate what it means to raise a child in the 21st century. In case we haven't met yet, my name is Sarah-Lynn Hodder. I am 32 years old. I live and work here in the UK, but if you cannot tell from my accent, I am Canadian. But I've been here for almost a decade. I trained as a teacher back in Northern Ontario, and I am incredibly grateful for that foundation. It's because my professors put so much emphasis on student autonomy, real-world learning, and passion-led education that creates the framework and guide for everything that I do. So even though I stepped away from the classroom a fair few years ago, these are the foundational tools and beliefs that I pass every single one of my resources and coursework through. Nowadays, I run a tutoring and coaching company that blends academic well-being, emotional growth, and mindset to support students, especially neurodivergent learners. I've been nominated for Send Tutor of the Year. I've spoken on numerous podcasts on the importance of blending and acknowledging student well-being within the academic sphere. And over the last 10 years, I've supported so many families to navigate a really complex landscape that is our educational system. And I refuse to let you believe that it was anything but. While this podcast is going to be a safe place for you to find comfort and empowerment, I also want to be very clear and open about where I'm getting my information and some of the journey that I've taken to acquire it. I've experienced incredibly high highs and some very low lows. I continuously battle the pendulum swing from hyper-focus to overwhelm with perfectionism and not being able to start. And I've been on the other end of the phone more times than I can count, supporting parents whose child refuses to go to school, and they're ultimately afraid of what's going to come next. Along the way, I've picked up a couple of qualifications and some hard-won experiences. When I first left the classroom, I had no idea where I wanted to start, but I knew that the classroom space wasn't for me. So I decided to go back to my roots. I went to school and I became a personal trainer. I dug deep into understanding mindset, habits for success, and understanding human behavior. Then I went through a huge period of debilitating stress and anxiety that completely rocked my world. I could barely leave the house, let alone experience life. And this was pre-pandemic. So when I was registered for CBT through the NHS, I was provided with all of these extra tools to support myself through understanding the brain-body connection and, more importantly, seeing that I wasn't alone in how anxiety manifested with my body. That it inspired me to use those tools and this teaching platform to empower other children who likewise experience debilitating anxiety at various stages of their academic journey. And lastly, I've dug deep into understanding mindfulness, breath work, and human behavior. All of these things combined have sparked such a passion, and all of this informs the work that I do now, which is creating programs for students who need help managing their OCD tendencies, have really big feelings that are often shown through explosive behavior like spitting and hitting and kicking younger siblings, and helping those to regain their confidence in integrating within an educational setting. So Sarah-Lynn, you have so much on the go. You tutor, you coach, you work with parents. Why a podcast? The answer is really quite simple. It's because I know that you're busy. Between school drop-off and pick-up, juggling work meetings, all of the normal daily chores, and on top of that, supporting a child within a very complex maze that is the 21st century, I understand that there's so much that keeps you up at night. And when you finally get home and you sit yourself down on your chair and you get a moment to breathe, just open up a search bar and type in, "Why does my child become overwhelmed when we begin homework?" and go through a 20-tab deep dive analyzing various people's opinions and suggestions to try and figure out the solution. That is overwhelming, and frankly, you don't have time for this. You need someone that you can trust, that you can turn to because you know that they've spent way too many hours poring over the research-backed papers, the scientific articles, and speaking to other families who are just a step or two ahead of you and picking up their wisdom and being able to share it with you. You want someone who can break these things down with clarity, compassion, and an eye for detail that only someone who can hyper-focus would be able to do. So that's why we have the Mindful Toolbox. It's a safe place where we can share real stories, hear from real experts that I trust innately, and to find real practical tools to help you on your day-to-day journey to support your child. We'll get real about what's going on behind the scenes. We'll explore simple and effective strategies that are going to help you instantaneously. And we're going to explore simple strategies that you can implement right away to start finding what works for you and your family. We're going to start slow and get ourselves sorted. So in terms of formatting, what can you expect? As someone who loves to dive in deep and figure it out on the go, but definitely gets overwhelmed when there's way too big of a learning curve, I've taken the very practical advice of my mentors to pace ourselves. So friends, we are going to be meeting bi-weekly until we get our stride, and we're hoping to have sessions that are between 30 to 40 minutes, which I think and I've heard is perfect for in between the pick up and drop off or sitting and waiting for a club to finish. And while I love interviews and chatting with people, and don't worry, we will definitely get some incredible guests on here, I was really hoping that this could be a space where we feel like we're sitting like friends, cross-legged in comfy chairs with our favorite hot drink. Today I've got coffee, but who knows, next time I might have matcha. But we can sit, we can get to know each other, and you can feel comfortable knowing that when we connect, you are getting tough love from someone who is such a big advocate for balancing student well-being, mental health for the whole family, and getting the support needed for academic success that supports the child beyond the classroom as well. You know, that best friend who's listened to the podcast and read the research papers and gone through all of the books and can turn to you at the end of the session and say, you know what? This is exactly what you need in order to help you with X. Speaking of, what kind of topics can you expect to cover? Well, we'll be starting with emotional literacy, what it is, and how we can build it within our children. This then leads to emotional regulation, because once we can identify what we're feeling, we can then feel empowered to regulate how we're doing it. Now, this is a topic that's going to support not only your child, but you as an adult as well, because I don't know about you, but these are not things that I was taught growing up. And so that's why I've spent so much time diving through the resources and going to therapy to build these skills myself. And how you show up for your child will directly impact how they're going to be able to use the tools that you are showing them. We'll also be looking at school avoidance, what it is and what it's not, and how you can find the support that you need from your local authority. We'll explore focus and motivation, and how it's grounded and feeling emotionally safe. It has nothing to do with them being lazy or them not having the right stimuli, but actually it's all tied to emotional safety. This then leads us to understanding why bribes and pep talks are kind of a waste of your time, and instead we dig into what actually works and why. And lastly, one of my favorite topics is going to be learning all about how you can support yourself. Because let's remember, without the foundation, the house will crumble. You are the foundation for your child, for your family. And without you feeling strong, the rest is going to fall to pieces. So that is why you are the most important puzzle piece in this journey, and we need to figure out what it is that you need to feel empowered to go on this trek. Some weeks I'm going to be sharing stories from my own practice and the students and families that I've worked with. Other weeks I'm going to be diving in with very practical and effective skills that you can implement. And later in the season, I am so excited to be welcoming in amazing guest speakers who are geniuses in their own field and who I trust wholeheartedly and turn to quite regularly when I'm working with families and I need a little bit of a sounding board as well. I'm incredibly excited to share them with you too. But ultimately, this isn't about perfection. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know everything, because I don't. I'm on my own journey of learning and discovering with every new family that I connect with. There's something more that I need to go and observe myself, but being able to share that with you and make that learning curve a little bit shorter is my ultimate goal. And so we're not aiming for perfection here. It's always about progress, and I hope we can do that together. Which leads me to what I'm most excited about sharing with you today, and that is the mindset shift that parents echo back to me every single time I check in with them to find out how things are going. And that is this one simple tip. Now, if you don't have a pen and paper with you today, that is okay, but I do suggest that if you're anything like me and auditory stimuli just doesn't quite cut it, you need more time to process and reflect on things, just bring your pen and paper. I would definitely do it. I do it when I listen to other podcasts, and it will absolutely help you to reflect back on things, because I know that when you turn this off, you have to go pet the kids and the dog's going to be barking and dinner's going to be made, and this might go out of your brain. But if you had something written down, you're more likely to refer back to it. So if you don't have that pen and paper today, that is okay, but I will repeat this twice because it is that important. Today's mindset shift is to acknowledge that a child who is unwilling or unmotivated to engage in an activity is not lazy and is not being stubborn. They are innately afraid of a part of what you're asking them to do. Let me repeat it again. They're not unmotivated. They are not lazy. They're feeling ashamed or guilty or overwhelmed. So our job as their carer, their parent, their educator, their teacher, whatever capacity that you are working with them, our job is to give them the grace by acknowledging that this behavior is actually an indicator for us. It should be a hit. Behavior is a clue to something underlining. And what is underlining this resistant behavior is oftentimes a fear or a hesitation to engage because they don't feel confident. So knowing that, we can reframe things. Instead of us going at it where we feel the resistance and we then get frustrated and it becomes a tug of a war between child and parent or student and educator, instead, what we can do is take a deep breath, regulate ourselves, remind ourselves that this behavior is a clue and our job is to get curious. And so when you're at the table and it's the night before their homework is due and you have dinner cooking and another child and there's a dog who needs to go out, you have so many other things. And when you sit that child down, they start to become really agitated and start to shut down, or throw their pencil, or look at the page sullenly, or constantly ask you to sit with them and give them help. And if you don't nod, or if you don't teach them in the exact same way that they were taught at school, it becomes a war of you're not teaching them right, and so they can't learn from you anymore. And so the tension rises, and it ultimately becomes what we call a homework battle. When those moments arise, acknowledge you. Please let me tell you, you are not alone in these moments. They are so common. But when they arise, what we need to do is put aside the goal of accomplishing it and instead ask, what is it here that you're uncertain of? What is it here that you don't like? What is it here that makes you feel uncomfortable? And then through repeated exposure to this kind of support, your child is going to build the self-awareness and the communication to express to you that it's that they don't like doing the homework independently because they want validation and feedback. It's going to be that they don't like working under time pressure. It's going to be that they feel exhausted doing homework when they've just come back from school, and so they want a 5-minute break before they get into it. Or they don't understand the word problems because they're so wordy. It's not necessarily that it's never just because they're being resistant. It's because there's an underlying thing here that they don't have the capacity to express to you. So our job is to get curious, create the space for them to express it, and then we can move forward together. It completely takes away the power dynamic, the tug of war, and instead allows you to walk side by side and alleviates any kind of pressure. So this is the kind of information and tactics that I'm so excited to share with you, because they're fed back to me continuously when we touch base with our parents, that these small little seemingly nuanced questions or mindset shifts are the key to such real big revelations to finding calm within the home. So if this resonates with you, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button because it will help us to reach so many more families who could really use this practical advice with it wrapped up within a supportive environment. And if you know another parent who might be struggling with the big emotions of their child, send this to them as well. We'd be so excited to welcome them into our community. Ultimately, I just want to thank you for being here. This is the Mindful Toolbox official maiden voyage, and it's a really exciting time that we have ahead of us. Just so you know that we have launched 2 other episodes for you today, so that way there you can go through it in like a binge-worthy kind of moment and find out if we are the kind of community that you want to find support with. Until next time, don't forget, you bring the tea and I'll bring the tools. See you soon.